Hello everybody, right, I'm just gonna go and very quickly check that everything's working just fine on the stream, because occasionally we can have all sorts of technical difficulties. I'll go and turn the music up a little bit on here for you guys. Don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'll go and don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Yeah, there we go. Right, we're good. We're good. Okay, so we are going to be watching, as the title suggests, the Sprint in Miami. I've got chat up on my phone, so I can reply to anything. I am watching on my computer, so I've got it on my computer. I'm gonna go and quickly promote the stream, and we can get started. I am still in the middle of doing revision for my exams. I've had 2 now, so that's great. Got that out of the way. And oh yeah, there's been contact, and the race hasn't even started yet. And you know what's so funny? Uh, it feeds into one of the most iconic memes in recent F1 history, which is of course penalty to Ocon, because it was Ocon that got involved in the incident with Charles Leclerc. I think it was either Leclerc or Sainz. It was one of the Ferraris, so that's not ideal. Uh, I'm just gonna get the tweet out, and then I'll quickly go and tweet it on my Twitter. I'm just gonna go and quickly see if one of my school friends has come on for St. Johnstone yet. No, he hasn't. That's a shame. Hopefully he'll come on in the last 10 minutes or so. They're 1-0 down at the moment, which ain't great. Currently checking the Celtic game as well. We're 2-0 up, so that's good. Yeah. Anyway, time to tweet. Just gotta go and get up onto my YouTube. Let me just quickly tweet this out, guys, and then I can get straight back to it. So, of course, Miami, one of the most well-known places around in the world, one of the most iconic places in the world. Known, hang on a second, known to most people, of course, for films like, I think Bad Boys is set in Miami, isn't it? Of course, Florida in general is a very well-known state in the world. It's well known for its tropical weather, and it's been the exact same for this race. It's been very warm all weekend. In fact, some drivers have been feeling quite ill. Most notably, Abby Pulling in F1 Academy, who actually was suffering with illness, and yet managed to qualify on pole for F1 Academy. So congratulations to Abby. I'm sure she's not watching this. But yes, she did a fantastic job, so full credit to her. We are 23 minutes away from starting, so let's have a look at some statistics around the Miami Grand Prix. So, of course, there has been 2 Miami Grand Prix. However, there's actually been more than that in Florida, because there's actually been another race that was held in Florida, and that was in 1959 when Sebring held the Grand Prix of America in 1959, and that was won by none other than Bruce McLaren. So yes, Miami has had a few races, 2022 and 2023, and there's been races all over America. In the very west of the country, you've got California and Long Beach. In the very east of the country, northeast, you have New York and Watkins Glen, and then in the southeast, you've had, of course, Miami, and then in the south, Texas, which has had two races in Dallas and in Kota. So, as I said, there's been a couple Miami Grand Prix, two to be exact, and the lap record is held by Max Verstappen, the race lap record anyway, in 2023 when he set a time of a 1:29.708. And there has been, as I said, two Miami Grand Prix, both of which were won by Max Verstappen. The first year in 2022, when he won by 3.7 seconds from Charles Leclerc, and in 2023 when he won from Sergio Perez by 5 seconds after starting, what was it, 9th on the grid. He won from 9th on the grid. So, and that was a very well-known race because there was quite a few incidents over the course of that race, including that notable incident between, I think it was Gasly and Norris, I think it was. I'll go and quickly check that. Was it Gasly and... No, it wasn't 2022, sorry, it was 2022 that had that incident between Gasly and Norris. Was it Gasly and Norris? Yeah, it was. So, yeah, they both had to retire from the race. And there's been some very... I mean, 2022 was quite an eventful race. 2023 wasn't that eventful, apart from Verstappen coming through the fields. But we've got 20 more minutes until the race starts, and let's have a little look at what the grid is going to be for the sprint today. So on pole, unsurprisingly of course, is Max Verstappen. He is starting on pole position for the sprint, and it's a bit of a surprise actually, because Lando Norris was quick throughout the qualifying sessions. He was actually quickest in SQ1 and SQ2, but qualified only 9th as he made a mistake in qualifying. So Verstappen is on pole position, and alongside him is Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. Then it's Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, just a little bit behind Leclerc and his teammate. And then fourth, which is probably the most surprising result out of the bunch, Daniel Ricciardo out-qualifying Yuki Tsunoda, who didn't even get into SQ3 because he didn't do a lap in SQ2, as he qualified in a brilliant fourth. Carlos Sainz is fifth. Oscar Piastri is in sixth. Lance Stroll is in seventh. Fernando Alonso in eighth. Lando Norris in ninth, and Nico Hülkenberg in 10th. Both the Mercedes cars did not progress to SQ3. George Russell out-qualified Lewis Hamilton by 28 thousandths of 0.028. Then it was Esteban Ocon in 13th. That's the best qualifying session of the year for him, I'm pretty sure. Then it's Kevin Magnussen in 14th and Yuki Tsunoda in 15th. And then an all-back row, the Williams, with Logan Sargent out-qualifying Alex Albon for the first time. Valtteri Bottas is 18th, Zhou 17th, 16th is Pierre Gasly. So that's what the starting grid is for the Miami Grand Prix. And let's have a quick look at the championship standings heading into this race. So as you can see on your right, it is Max Verstappen who leads the championship with 110 points. Then second place, Sergio Perez on 85. Charles Leclerc is in third on 76. Carlos Sainz is fourth on 69 points, despite missing, of course, the Saudi Grand Prix due to appendicitis. And then you got the two McLarens. It's a 2x2 formation up until 8th place, as 7th technically, as it is Lando Norris on 58 points and Oscar Piastri on 38. Hello, I want pickle right now. How are you doing today? So it's Norris and Piastri, then Russell, Alonso, Hamilton, Stroll, Tsunoda, Behrman, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Albon, Ocon, Zhou, Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, Valtteri Bottas, and Logan Sargent. And then in the constructors, Kick Sauber last with 0 points. Alpine tied last but have had better results in 8th. Williams in 7th. Haas have had a good season, they're in 6th. Kashap are in 6th. Aston Martin 5th. Mercedes 4th. Ferrari, McLaren 3rd. Ferrari 2nd. And Red Bull are 1st. What are your predictions to top 3 of the sprint? I reckon it'll just be what the top 3 is for the start, and that is Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez. It's quite boring to predict that, but it's probably what's going to happen. just checking how my football teams are getting on at the moment. Because I'm a Celtic fan, so we're up 2-0 at the moment, so that's good. I wonder if I should ever do any streams watching Paint Dry Simulator. That is true, Luke. That is true. But hopefully it won't be like that. Hopefully it'll be, well, the opposite of watching paint dry, which is, I suppose, watching Bob Ross paint, I suppose. Who doesn't? Who hands up here who watches Bob Ross? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Bob Ross. The man who has, first of all, the funny hair, and second of all, has a very soft voice. Me. Correct. Correct answer, Luke. Bob Ross. He is fantastic. He is great stuff. I am watching this on the stream you recommended to me, Luke. The LLS stream. Had. So you don't anymore. Disgraceful. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm using for the music, I've got my own playlist up that I use. I got it from a guy called Mackwell, who's a football YouTuber. So that's what the background music is, and there's going to be like 30 minutes of the same song in a couple minutes. Let me go and check. Yeah, in about 7 minutes time, it's just going to be half an hour of the same song over and over again, so I might change it to Kevin MacLeod. You know, the funny meme guy. Bob Ross is dead, I mean. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, I get what you mean now, Yeah, he is dead, but, you know, his spirit continues on. Absolutely phenomenal painter. If you guys haven't watched Bob Ross, please watch him, because he is absolutely brilliant. There's this one tutorial that I really like of his. It's like 59 minutes long, and it's not like the regular episodes where he's just like, alright, you guys know what to do, let's just paint. He actually takes you step by step through it, and it's so cool. I really like it. Maybe I should link it in the stream. I'll go and link it in the stream, actually. It's really good, genuinely. I'll have to go and mute. Yeah, I had to go and mute my own stuff there. But yeah, I think Carlos will finish third. I mean, it could happen. I mean, to be honest, I can even see Norris getting up there, because he's got the pace for it. Both McLarens are really quick at the moment. So I think there is a chance for Carlos and for Lando, and maybe even for Oscar as well, because I reckon the Aston Martins will just slowly sort of disappear over the race, over the sprint, I should say. Because over one lap, we've seen that with the Aston Martins. They're quite good, but over the race distance, they're not as good. I'll go and get the link up for it, for the Bob Ross special. There it is. There's the link. It's really good. Please watch it. Mercedes worse than the football club Tottenham. It's like that famous old saying, isn't it? Hang on a second, I'll get the soundbite up for it. Hang on. It's like that famous old saying. Hang on. I should have this ready, just as a soundbite. Okay, yeah, right. So, guys, it is just like this.
And the two goals came very quickly. Yeah, but Tottenham, it's the history of the Tottenham. They always created many chances and scored so much, but
Chiellini, good old Chiellini. Who's been the faster driver, Lewis or George? This season it's been George, but overall I still think Lewis is the better driver, if you're asking for my opinion on that. Hey, Maida's back from injury. Sorry, I was just quickly tuning into the Celtic game. Yeah, apparently they're playing really rubbish music right now, but thankfully I've not got it in my ears, because if I did, then I'd be copyrighted. So, oopsie. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, I think, because you know they're gonna be pushing flat out. The only problem is though is what they should do is they should hold the sprint after qualifying. That's logical. It's what MotoGP does. MotoGP hosts the sprint after qualifying, and they have the same grid order. I agree with that. I think that's how it should work, because look at how well MotoGP have it. Only difference is, of course, MotoGP has loads of backup bikes, whereas F1 doesn't have any backup cars or bikes. I don't think Ocon's taking part because he's not in the car and he's on the pit wall. So I don't think he's starting this because I mean no, maybe he is. Maybe they're just repairing the car. I think he might be starting from pit lane or something, but I don't have any information because obviously I can't play it for copyright. Oh, Celtic have a penalty. Right. Celtic have a penalty. Go on, Matt. Make it 3-0. I know it's a Formula 1 stream, but still. Go on, O'Reilly. Make it 3-0. Come on. Yes, I am watching it on a dodgy stream because 3 p.m. kickoffs are banned in the UK because of some stupid rule 6 years ago. Come on, O'Reilly. Come on. He steps up. He takes. He scores! 3-0. Come on. I don't need to keep checking that because it's in the bag. It's in the bag, boys and girls. It's in the bag. But yeah, to answer the question, I do think that this season George has been the better driver. But if I think Lewis is still really, really fast, and that he's just, I don't know if it's because he is moving team or if it's because that's the thing. It's not like with when he moved from Mercedes to McLaren, because when he moved from McLaren to Mercedes, when he moved from McLaren to Mercedes, it was more so a case of he'll do it at the end of the season. Who's better, Schumacher or Alonso? I like both, but personally, I would say Schumacher, and the reason for that is because Schumacher went and brought a team of guys. Hang on a second. I'll go and what I need to do is I'll turn the volume down on the music in Streamlabs, but I'll turn it up for desktop so you guys can hear it. Out of Schumacher and Alonso, I think Schumacher personally, because when Schumacher joined Ferrari, and this is the reasoning Murray Walker gives, and I totally agree with him. Schumacher joined a Ferrari team which hadn't won a driver's title, since 1979. So for context, this was in 1996. Ferrari hadn't won a driver's title since 1979, and they hadn't won a constructor's since 1983. Now, that's a long time in Formula 1. In 1979, the reigning world champion was Mario Andretti. In 1996, his son had been racing in Formula 1 3 years earlier. So that's what Formula 1's like, it changes. And Schumacher picked that Ferrari team up. He brought a few guys with him, Rory Byrne, Ross Brawn. I don't know if there was anybody else he brought. And then they formed a super team, and he built that team back up. They had won a couple races before he joined. They won the Canadian Grand Prix with Lacey. And I don't know if they won a race with Berger that season, but they had won races, but they had never been competitive enough to compete for a title. Hang on a second. Oh, hang on. I'm trying to find. Yeah, so if you look at 1995, in terms of race wins, Alesi took the only win for Ferrari that year. And then 94, I think Berger won in Germany. If you were in charge of a Formula 1 team, who's your number one driver? Verstappen or Senna? Senna. Ayrton Senna was just... he was a demon. Like, if I had to build my perfect driver, wet conditions, Ayrton Senna. Over one lap, Ayrton Senna. Strategy, I'd pick either Jackie Stewart or Alain Prost. And then for a driver who keeps the car in a good condition, Jim Clark. Simple as that. Hamilton's good, right? Well, right. This is the way I see it. Okay, Schumacher's good. Fangio's great. Hamilton's fantastic. Clark is brilliant. Senna is the greatest. That's the way I see it. If he was still alive, he'd probably be a 5 or 7 time champion. The thing was, though, to counter argue that, I am a Senna fan, but I'm playing devil's advocate here. if the modern format of points had existed in the 80s, then Alain Prost would be a 7-time F1 champion, apparently, which is crazy. But I do agree. I think in 1994, because of the Benetton race ban, I think he still could have won that title. And then in 95 and 96, if he had stayed with Williams, he would have been competitive enough for it. The thing was, though, Prost and Jim Clark have a very similar thing where they have much less titles than they probably should have. Because I've done a lot of research about Jim Clark because, you know, I'm a massive fan of his. And I found that there was 3 races in Jim Clark's career which costed him 3 world championships. So if you look at Jim Clark's career, young Schumacher or current Verstappen, that's a better question, because young Schumacher was still lightning fast. But you know, if you look at when you mean young Schumacher, do you mean like the same age as Verstappen is now, or do you mean like young Schumacher's in like because like Verstappen's 27 this year. When Schumacher was 27, he was at Ferrari. So, because obviously his birthday's early on in the year, Max's is near the end. So, yeah. Yeah, so if I find Jim Clark's career, there were 3 races that costed him 3 world championships. And that was 1994 Schumacher. Okay, good question. That's difficult. I would say current Verstappen probably. Although with that being said, the Benetton he drove in 1994 probably wasn't as quick as the Williams. That's my opinion. I think that Williams was quicker than the Benetton, but he just did amazing in it. I'd pick current Verstappen though, because he's got all that experience. Because, you know, when Schumacher came into Formula 1, it was in the second half of 1991. So he had 2.5 seasons of experience heading into 1994. But with that being said, in his second season, he did brilliantly. He won I think it was Belgian Grand Prix, and he finished 3rd in the driver's standings in his first full season of Formula 1, which was very impressive. But with Verstappen, he just seems to have that innate ability to be able to push at the right time and be able to manage the pace and not make a mistake. He's almost got a robot-like ability. And I do think if Red Bull hadn't had that bad weekend in Singapore, that he would have had he would have equaled Schumacher's record from 2002. So that's my opinion. And if you look at 1984 in general, you know, it was helped that obviously Senna passed away. However, if you look at Schumacher's results, every single race he finished, he was on the podium. But he did crash with Hill in Australia, and he got excluded from 2 races. So with that being said, I would say current Verstappen, because current Verstappen's incredible. Damon Hill was good, but Schumacher got disqualified from the British Grand Prix because of some really harsh conditions. In fact, if I read this out, Drivers' Championship leader Michael Schumacher crossed the line in second in his Benetton Ford, but was subsequently disqualified for overtaking Hill in the formation lap and failing to serve a stop-go penalty in time. He was also given a 2-race ban. That is beyond harsh, in my opinion. He should have maybe had to start from the back for the next race. But disqualification, Schumacher crashed into Hill so he could win the championship. But the thing is, if you look at the backstory behind it, Schumacher shouldn't have been put in that position in the first place because of those disqualifications. Like in Belgium, he got disqualified because of excess wear under the skid block of his car. So that's fair enough. Belgium is fair enough. But the British Grand Prix, that was what? Let me see. 6 points he lost. Now, after Japan, Schumacher was 1 point ahead of Hill. The old point standings were 10 points for a win, 6 for second. So Schumacher wouldn't have needed to do that to Hill if he hadn't been disqualified ridiculously from the British Grand Prix. And then he got excluded from Italy and from Portugal because of the British Grand Prix. So he lost 2 races basically. Now, if you look at his his teammates' results, Jos Verstappen's and Gigi Leto's, they qualified 10th and 20th. If you look at Hungary and the gap between Schumacher and Verstappen, it was 2.8 seconds. So if you compare that to Monza, Schumacher would be on pole. However, obviously different circuits. Sprint is starting now. That is true. We are getting ready for the formation lap. Great starting position from Ricciardo. That is true. 4th place on the grid. I'm a little bit behind because I'm watching it on a different stream. So I will be a little bit more delayed. So I'm just gonna go and close a few windows that I've got open. There we go. Yeah, so there's Charles Leclerc starting 2nd on the grid. He'll be hoping that he can get a good start and get ahead of Verstappen into turn 1. Ah, so you're watching it as well. Cool. I don't know if the formation lap's begun for you guys yet, but it's not began for me yet. I'll let you know when it has began in case you want to pause it and get in sync with me. So I will let you know when the formation lap is started. My sitter asks, why do they do the formation lap? They do it to warm up the tires. It's better for safety, and also because it means that they can check that everything's working on the car, that the radio comms are working. It started for me. Okay, I'll let you know when it starts. Oh, they got a picture of Baby Lewis in the crowd, like a cardboard cutout of Baby Lewis in the crowd. That's quite funny. So yeah, I will let you know when it starts, and the formation lap has started. So that's the start now for me. If you guys want to play, but the formation lap has started. We are in round 6 of the 2024 Formula 1 season, and the stream I'm watching on, it's got like a stream chat, and one comment said DTS is so dramatic. Now that is very, very true. But yeah, as I said, Miami's got a big history in Formula 1. There was actually a championship decided in Miami. Not in Miami, sorry, in Florida, I should say, which is the state Miami's in. There was actually a championship decided there in 1959 because Tony Brooks, Sterling Moss, and Jack Brabham duelled for the title in 1959. And Brooks had damage on the first lap. Well, he believed it was serious, so he pitted. And there ended up not being a lot of damage. And in the end, Jack Brabham won the title because Sterling Moss retired. I think Baron will go to Haas next season. I agree. I think he will as well. If you look at my predictions from the last stream, although I don't know if you guys can review that or not because I think it was copyrighted. I did say Baron will go to Haas. I think him and Magnussen will be at Haas next season. And there's Alex Albon, who's starting from the pit lane. Of course, he qualified last, so he can just change his components and it won't make a difference. Of course, the pit lane's quite generous here because it comes out onto the circuit. It's not like out of turn 1. Similar to Spa-Francorchamps. It's not like the other tracks in the calendar where it comes out on the pit straight or at turn 1. So for example, Australia or Hungary, it's out at turn 1, so you actually, I think that gives you a tiny bit of an advantage, because you're coming out into the track. I don't like this Ferrari livery, and is it permanent? It is not permanent. It's just for Miami. It's a PR move. So yeah, it's I'm not a fan of it either. It's not the only time Ferrari have raced in blue either. I constantly give you guys history lessons, but there was a race in 1964, the Mexican Grand Prix, where Ferrari were protesting about, I think it was entrant fees. So they entered a blue livery under the North American Racing Team, which was driven by John Surtees and Lorenzo Bandini, and they ended up winning the title in that car, which is quite funny. So, big news obviously, Adrian Newey leaving Red Bull, and Nico Hülkenberg moving to what will become the Audi team in 2026. Those are the main headlines coming into this weekend, along with the glaringly obvious fact that Max Verstappen is probably going to win. So, yeah, starting for me. Well, I'll let you know when I've started. So, here we go. Everybody's still lining up on the grid. We've got the Alpine and the Haas. I think that's Ocon and Magnussen, I think it was. And there's Logan Sargent, who's the last driver on the grid. He's lining up. So we're getting ready for the start. And I'm not going to look at the chat because there's probably going to be spoilers. So yeah, we're getting ready for the start here. I am a little bit behind, so please try and refrain from spoilers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Miami Sprint. And they're away. It's a good start from Charles Leclerc, and Verstappen's coming to covering him as they head in towards turn 1. Ricardo's trying to go down the inside of Perez, and Perez goes around the outside of Leclerc, slightly wide, and up into third place goes Daniel Ricciardo. It's a good start from Ricciardo. Side by side are the Haas of Hülkenberg and one of the Mercedes cars. I didn't say which Mercedes it was. I think it's Lewis Hamilton. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. I don't know who for, but both the Haases have now gotten ahead of the Mercedes there. So it's a brilliant start from Kevin Magnussen from all the way back. Either that or it's been a dreadful start from the Mercedes. I don't know which one. And it's Lando Norris. Lando Norris has had an issue, and one of the drivers who I contended would be battling for the victory is out on lap 1 with 18 more laps to go after, well, 19 more laps to go, sorry. We're halfway around the first lap, and it's Silver Verstappen who leads, Leclerc following him duly in pursuit, and then it's Ricciardo and Perez that make up the top 4. Followed by them, it's then Sainz, Piastri, Hülkenberg, and then Magnussen. So it was a brilliant start for the Haas cars, and we have got a safety car now for the caution, and I think one of the Aston Martins got caught up, or both the Aston Martins got caught up, because they have disappeared down the order, and Fernando Alonso has got a puncture, and Lance Stroll is right at the back of the pack. So something's happened to both Aston Martins there, and I think they might have been caught up in the incident. Oh, it's fine, it's fine. I was just worried, because, you know, I want my reactions to be more genuine, if that makes sense. But yeah, both Aston Martins must have been caught up. Maybe George Russell was as well, because Russell had a dreadful start. It's 15th. So I wonder what happened. I reckon what would have happened was because Norris was starting behind, I reckon Russell hit him, and a concertina effect happened where the two Aston Martins also got hit. Let's see if I'm correct in saying that. I was spot on. So Russell came into turn 1. No, sorry, Hamilton it was. Hamilton came into turn 1, absolutely dive-bombed the two Aston Martins. Norris was on the outside, Alonso was on the right, Stroll was in the middle, and I think it was Hamilton was on the inside. And Alonso was trying to avoid contact with Hamilton, so he turned into Stroll, and Stroll then had to hit Norris because they were too close to each other. So Hamilton will get penalised for that because he made a move that was ridiculous, and he would have made contact with the Aston Martin, and he did make contact with the Aston Martin. So as a result of that, the two Aston Martins' chances of points have disappeared, and the reason why Russell dropped down was because he was avoiding contact. So Hamilton in 9th at the moment, and he came, as Fernando Alonso aptly put it, like a bull, and made contact with Alonso's front wing. And I don't know what Hamilton's going to say about it. There was a gap on the inside, so I went for it. Now, I think that's a little bit petty of Hamilton to say that, because there was a gap, but the question is, was it really worth going for? Really? Really? I mean, poor Lando Norris, he's just chilling, minding his own business on the outside, and Hamilton clatters into Alonso, who clatters into Stroll, who clatters into who clatters into Norris, and that is Lance Stroll out the race because of the damage. So Hamilton's got the blood of two drivers now on his hands, as it is, I guess, as Alonso's now right at the back. So you could say to a degree three drivers, because three drivers have had their race ruined by Hamilton. And ruined isn't a word I use often because, well, I mean, it's quite an extreme word, but it's the best word to use in this situation. Hamilton fans will come after me and go, he didn't. But he did. He did. He went down the inside. The gap existed, but just because a gap exists doesn't mean you should go for it, you know? That's like saying, oh, you know, because the teacher's, you know, not looking, you can go and throw a pencil at somebody. Yeah, you can do that, but it's not right. It's like, you know, and I'm sure Hamilton will be going to the head principal's office after the race. The head principal's office, of course, being the stewards. Alonso is speaking, but I can't hear what he's saying right now because obviously I have to mute it. But they're coming through the pit lane because of the debris on the circuit. I wonder if they might red flag it. I don't think they will, but I wonder if they'd consider that. Because of course the red flag regulations are a lot different to what they used to be. You know, I think it was from 2017 to 2020 there wasn't a single red flag in Formula 1. Not even for when Hulkenberg's car flipped. That'd be an immediate red flag these days. Lewis is going to be in trouble. He is going to get penalised for that. Now, obviously it's not up to me to decide, but I would give him a 15-second time penalty. That may sound harsh to you guys, but he took out two drivers. If it's one driver, it's 10. So 2 for me, 15. And I don't think he should get a grid drop. But there is Camila Cabello. Hello. Hi. Anyway, back to the actual sport, not oh wow, look, generic celebrity. You know, I mean, to be fair, Camila Cabello's music isn't really my cup of tea. I'm not a Latin or modern pop fan by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, if you look at my playlist, 90% of it is made up with 1960s, 1970s, 1980s music, and maybe a little bit of modern alternative. So, yeah, we're getting ready for the restart now, and Daniel Ricciardo has found himself in third place somehow. Yet to score points all season, and he might get a podium in a sprint. Crazy. He goes from no points to a podium in a sprint. But Verstappen's warming up his tyres. He's waiting to go, and I think they all know what he's gonna do. He's gonna wait, and Ricciardo and Verstappen both warming up their tyres. Verstappen's gonna wait right until the corner, and then he's gonna go mid-corner, because then that bottlenecks the rest of the field, and he has. And Leclerc's keeping pursuit, but he's just not close enough to make a move at the moment. As we got into the restart, it is Verstappen, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Perez, Sainz, Piastri, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Hamilton, and Tsunoda. That is the top 10. Two drivers starting on the soft tyres, Tsunoda and Sargent. Fernando Alonso starting on the hard is on the hard tyres at the moment, which is quite interesting. He probably started on the mediums. My sister asking why are they moving left to right. That is to warm up their tyres so they can get condition in them. Because if you've got cold tyres coming out of a corner, then you're more likely to spin because the tyres aren't up to temperature. So doing that gives it temperature. And also, it also slows the pack down and may distract the other drivers as well. So it's a double tactic in a way. So that's why they weave left to right. And some of them do it on straights to try and break the toe, so the cars behind them cannot get a slipstream and gain an advantage. But you can only do that once, unlike on a safety car restart where you can weave about whenever how much you want. So Verstappen's pulled the 1 second mark out on Leclerc here, and Ricciardo is doing a very impressive job. He is still ahead of Perez. He is outside the DRS of Leclerc now, I hope Daniel keeps P3. Yes. Well, it's a good underdog story, isn't it? And it's a good comeback story because, of course, Ricciardo out for a year and didn't have a great stint at McLaren, but he has come back with the V-Carb team, as it's nicknamed at the moment. And he got past Perez on the start before the safety car came out. But two drivers who have had a brilliant race so far are the two Haas cars in 7th and 8th. So at the moment they are picking up 3 points, and that would move them, I was going to say move them ahead of V-Carb, but V-Carb are running third at the moment with Ricciardo. So V-Carb and Haas looking very strong, top of the midfield at the moment. Those two teams battling for 6th place in standings. I was going to say 5th there, but no, that's where Aston Martin are. And Verstappen not really pulling away from Leclerc at the moment. Still 1.1 seconds is the gap. Blue and Ferrari look strange. It does. And then the inside goes Sergio Perez, and he's up into 3rd. Ricciardo's not going to fight it. And it's a very good move from Perez down the inside into the snaky bits. And now they head into the upward trajectory of the chicane. The chicane that, of course, caught Alex Albon out in sprint qualifying yesterday, which caused him to start from the back. He's in 16th at the moment, ahead of Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso. But now we're on board with Carlos Sainz, who's right behind Daniel Ricciardo at the moment. What are you watching on? A dodgy stream because I cannot watch it on Sky because I'm using a software to stream this. Ah, you're on F1 TV. Cool. I've not got F1 TV. F1 TV Pro isn't around in the UK. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, I agree that Ferrari car does not look great. It looks like you've dipped a bit of like mint into like peppermint into ketchup. It looks just really weird. I'm sorry. It looks too weird to me. I cannot deal with that. But yeah, I'm watching it on a stream because I can't watch it on Sky Go because my streaming software I'm used gets recognized by Sky, so I have to watch it on that. I like the way I think that the regular livery, which has the yellow instead of the blue, is really nice. I really like the yellow and the white on the car. It really suits it. And what I've noticed is Perez isn't really making a lot of ground up on Leclerc at the moment. Verstappen and Leclerc are sort of running at a very, very quick pace at the moment. But here's a replay of the overtake from Perez. And he makes the move into the chicane section. He pulls out, goes to the left, and gets ahead of Ricciardo. Just about. But at the moment, though, he's not really pulling much of a gap out. And what's happened to Ricciardo? Oh, sorry. I'm getting confused. I saw Verstappen and Leclerc, and I thought that was Perez and Ricciardo and Sainz, but it isn't. Ricciardo just about still in DRS of Perez, but Sainz is a lot closer than he has been in the entirety of the sprint so far. Sainz is going to try and make a move, hope that Ricciardo breaks late. He sort of did a dummy move to try and force Ricciardo into a mistake, but that didn't work out. Ricciardo is a seasoned veteran of the sport. Of course, this is what, his 13th or 14th season in the sport. That's interesting. Norris incident. Entering the track on foot. He'll probably get a fine for that. But it's pennies to Lando Norris. He's on millions of the year. So he doesn't mind. I mean, the only positive for Lando is now, I mean, at least he can go and, have a quick 18 round of golf while he's waiting for the sprint. I don't know if there are any good golf courses in Miami, but and the suits that Carlos and Charles are wearing are worse than the car. They are worse, yeah. I really didn't like the way the suits looked. I liked the little meme, the Hewlett Packard meme though, about paying for Newey and Hamilton. I found that quite funny. Of course, Hewlett Packard are a multi-billion-dollar company, so, and to be fair, they are a bit like the Ferrari of technology. To be fair, so I can see why they partnered up with Ferrari. They're such a marketable brand, so they will make lots of money. Playa, as Tom Cruise's character in Tropic Thunder said, and then he danced to Flo Rida. Gotta get that arrow bottom jeans, boots with the fur. Only thing I can think of is either that or that clip of the girl, of the mum going, "Did you sleep with your teacher?" And she's like, "Mister, no." It's quite funny. But anyway, Leclerc isn't losing too much time to Verstappen. It's 1.4 seconds. So it's pretty much stayed at the 1 to 1.5 second mark since the restart. And Kevin Magnussen's gonna have to be careful here because he's got Dive Bomb Lewis behind him. Although with that being said, somebody who's closing up on both of them is Yuki Tsunoda, who is a tenth quicker in the final sector than Hamilton. But here comes Hamilton. He's not going to dive bomb down the inside. He's going to go around the outside, but that hasn't worked for him. Magnussen has blocked him, and he has stopped him from getting through so far. So at the moment, it's still Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz, Piastri, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Hamilton, Tsunoda. Fernando Alonso still in last place at the moment. He is unable to make any progress after his after Lewis Hamilton collided with him. And as a result, Lance Stroll and Lando Norris retired. Investigation after sprint. Norris entering the track on foot. Interesting. By the way, guys, I am going to be live for qualifying, which will be live in, I think, 3.5 hours time. So if you're gonna be staying up late, then like that name, Dive Bomb Lewis. I was trying to think of of alliteration, but I couldn't think of any. The only thing I could think of when I was thinking of L was that clip of Michael Rosen going, "Louis Lou liar." But of course, Hamilton doesn't lie, he just tells fragments of the truth. So, I went for a gap. That's fragments of the truth. That is the truth. He did go for the gap, but, you know, he didn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry." You know, that would be, well, I wouldn't be telling the truth, I'd be giving your opinion, I suppose. But it's like, he was telling the truth, but he didn't, you know, admit guilt. But here's a replay of something. I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah, that's naughty from Magnussen there. He completely cut the chicane. And to be fair, I'm not gonna go, "Oh, he should be penalised for that," because honestly, I do not know how they do that, how they get through that chicane without having an incident. And I think Leclerc's made a mistake somewhere, because Verstappen's just pulled 7/10 out on him in one lap. Huh? How's that happened? But Russell's trying to make a recovery. He's in 14th at the moment. Of course, he had to try and avoid the incident. And here comes Carlos Sainz, and surely he'll get past Daniel Ricciardo now. Ricciardo's out of DRS of Perez, and around the outside, Sainz is going to go of Ricciardo. He's unable to get ahead initially, and he's going to have to try and sort of set the move up for where Perez passed Ricciardo a few laps ago. Halfway through the sprint, Verstappen let Leclerc and then Perez. So that's exactly what I predicted for the top three. I predicted Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez for the top three. Let's see if it will remain that way, because of course we still have another 10 laps to go, and it's a street circuit. You're like 3 minutes behind, I think. Yeah, that does sound about right. I am watching it on a stream, so I'm on lap 10 at the moment. You guys are probably on lap 12 or 13. Max said 0 rear grip. Then explain how he pulled out 7/10 on Charles 1 or 2 laps ago. See, I'll let you put like radio messages in, because I won't be able to hear them. But Magnussen incident, leaving the track and gaining an advantage noted. And because we're in a kind of vibe where Kevin MacLeod's music fits, this is what I'm gonna play. Max is capping. He is. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Yeah. So I'm about a minute and a bit back, maybe 2 minutes back. But then again, Leclerc has closed up a bit. It's 1.9 now, so he has closed up. But anyway, actually, yeah, I don't think he is capping, because in the third sector you need a lot of rear grip to get out that last corner. So, and he lost 2.5 tenths. So unless he puts in a really good lap here, I don't see why he'd be lying, to be fair. he has had a good first sector. He's pulled a couple out on Leclerc, so maybe he is capping. But I suppose with this sector, it's less about the rear grip. It's more about front grip. So yeah, here comes Hamilton trying to get ahead of Kevin Magnussen here. And will he finally get the move done after being stuck behind him for several laps? He's going to go around the outside. I think Magnussen's going to try and stick it in there. And Magnussen holds on. Hamilton's going to try and float it around the outside. And I don't know if Magnussen's still there. Oh, they make contact. And Hamilton is going to be thinking, what did he do that for? But I suppose, Lewis, that is what is called in the spiritual world karma. So he did kind of have a bit of karma hit on him there. Magnussen incident, leaving the track and gaining an advantage under investigation. Hamilton once again trying to get ahead of Magnussen, and Kevin Magnussen has got a penalty, and it's going to be 10 seconds for that. Nah, that's 5 seconds at a push, mate. He didn't even gain like half a second from it. That is BS. That is absolutely BS. That FIA chill, exactly. Let them race for goodness sake. It's ridiculous. Like that was never a penalty. Never a you could say it was a penalty, but like it wasn't a 10-second penalty. More like a 5-second penalty. Yeah, I mean he did drive into you, Lewis. I will admit that. He did drive into you. Should be 5, exactly. Magnussen did kind of drive into Hamilton there. Hamilton was in front. Magnussen went off track to try and make that happen. And Sainz is being frustrated now by Oscar Piastri because they are both stuck behind Daniel Ricciardo. And, well, Hamilton is now probably getting done for speeding in the pit lane. Probably Lewis fanboys. They have to be impartial, but the thing is, the FIA have had many decisions over the years which haven't come Lewis's way. A certain incident in 2021. But before that, there were a lot of decisions made that were, you know, quite dubious, in my opinion, towards Mercedes. Although I used to be a Ferrari fan, I'm not biased anymore. So I suppose you could accuse me of bias, and I wouldn't deny that. Because the incidents I'm talking about, guess my favourite current F1 driver. I'm going to guess the one that is most liked by overall, and that is Lando Norris. Because I think he's the most liked driver, I think, on the grid. But Magnussen putting up a stoic defence to the point where there is literally a Trulli train behind him, which runs from Hamilton all the way down to Hamilton's teammate Russell. So they're all in a Mercedes sandwich, basically. It lasts from 9th all the way until 14th. Nope. Daniel. To be fair, he'd probably be my second guess because he's also pretty well liked. Him and Charles Ruben, second and third guesses for me. Yeah, this is this race right now. What's that song called again? Local Forecast. That is the kind of song you'd hear in the weather, to be fair. But I can't help but laugh at the background music I've got in my ears right now. Anyway, Lewis Hamilton still trying to get past Kevin Magnussen, and Leclerc has closed up a bit on Verstappen. I think how the laps sort of going is Verstappen's gaining in the opening 2 sectors, and Leclerc's gaining either more or equal to that in the last sector. So Leclerc's not really making much head ground on him because they're pretty even on pace. The Ferrari is stuck behind that V-carb, and it's he's just stuck. There's no other way of putting it. He's stuck. I think Verstappen, if Verstappen doesn't win tomorrow, interesting. That's an interesting opinion. I think Verstappen will still win, to be honest. I mean, he's in fine form, but Magnussen still putting up a stoic defence against Hamilton. Let's see if Hamilton can get past in the back straight when it comes up, because Sainz is currently on that straight trying to get ahead of Ricciardo. Way too far back. He's half a second back, and yeah, he's not going to get past. He needs to pull an almighty dive bomb of the century to get ahead of him. And here comes Magnussen, and Magnussen's fighting for that point as if his life depends on it. And what on earth is Magnussen doing? I am questioning Kevin Magnussen right now. Like, what is he doing? It's 1 point, Kevin! And you're forcing people off the track. Jesus, that is... The driving standards in this race. They dipped. They dipped quicker than black and white flag for car 20, Magnussen, track limits. Aye, and he'll get another penalty for forcing Hamilton off the track. Because, I mean, there's not much Hamilton really could have done there to avoid, avoid going off the track, because otherwise he would have been collected by Magnussen. But I mean, Hamilton's ahead. You know what Hamilton should have done? Hamilton should have properly cut in front of him, and he pushed us off the track. He did, Lewis. I'll give you that one. It was a good move from Yuki Tsunoda though, just casually just dipping in there, going, "All right, lads, I'm part of this now. I'm gonna go and get past K-Mag," and he has. And K-Mag has now been told, I think, to drop behind Hamilton. And now he's got a whole train behind him again, so that'll be fun. He's got Gasly, Sargent, Joe Russell, Albon, Bottas, Ocon, and Alonso, aka half the field, right behind him. And now Yuki and Lewis are doing battle for that point in 8th. And I think Yuki will be a lot cleaner than Lewis will. This is basically just carried the whole race, this battle for 8th. Because Sainz just cannot get past Ricciardo, and Piastri cannot get past Sainz because they're in a DRS train. I mean, Sainz just can't get ahead of Ricciardo at the moment. He's getting close, but he's never getting close enough to pass. I wonder if he'll be close enough to pass now, because they're heading onto the main straight, I think. Now, so maybe he'll close up a bit. I don't think he'll get him though. He's half a second behind, so he'll need to do a lot. Yeah, he's not ahead of him again. So another lap where Sainz is stuck behind him. Leclerc's still 2 seconds back from Verstappen. That gap's just sort of stayed the same. It's not really fluctuated very much at all. And here comes Russell, defending, I think, from Albon. Yeah, I think he was defending from Albon there. So that's quite interesting. Just check chat. Kevin has a 20-second time penalty. No way. No way. No way. He does. He's got 20 seconds now overall. Leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Oh my days. He let Lewis through. He let Lewis through though. So how did he get penalised? He let Lewis through. So oh, K-Mag. By the way, you know this track is bad when Alonso took, I think, 10 laps to get ahead of Ocon and stay ahead. I mean, it is a DRS train, that's the only defence, but like, Sainz hasn't got past Ricciardo in 10 laps. And it took Hamilton for Hamilton to get ahead of Magnussen to be pushed off the track for him to get ahead. So I can't say this race has been particularly amusing, but it's been amusing in all the wrong ways. That's the way I would put it anyway. Amusing for driving standards. It reminds me of Monza 2015 in that one Formula 3 race where Lance Stroll flipped at turn number 3 and a bunch of cars just binned it. I'm sure that would be more entertaining to watch right now than this race, to be fair. Because at least some excitement's happening, albeit that excitement is Prema flipping in turn 3. Oh, goated song. But yeah, vibes. Ricardo's done a brilliant job. Absolutely brilliant. Leclerc's now 2.5 back from Verstappen. So Verstappen's beginning to pull away again. Sainz still stuck behind Ricciardo, and I think the reason he can't get ahead is just because Ricciardo always has such good exit from the last corner. So Sainz can't get ahead on the main straight, and then the back straight, Ricciardo pulls ahead because of the dirty air. I mean, they said that the regulations were going to fix this, and they really haven't. 2021 was the last good year. 2022 was good. It was a good year for racing as well, for F1 in terms of racing. But like, you just can't follow and be able to get ahead. It's not great, is it? I mean, there's a reason why IndyCar is more entertaining than F1, and that's because it's a spec series, so all the cars are the same, and have the same effect in dirty air, depending on setup, obviously. I mean, Sainz is 6 tenths back from Ricciardo here. He's never going to get ahead from that far back. You'd need to dive bomb him. And he's not going to do that because, he's got qualifying in a couple hours. Yeah, there's no point in risking anything in this race unless you're in Kevin Magnussen's boots. It's just ridiculous. Hello, do you play some games? I play video games sometimes, yeah. Apologies for not being able to read your comment. Hello. Ofek YT. Darn it. I got done there. Ofek. It's fine. I don't mind saying feck every now and then. Good job for Nico. Yeah, Nico's done a great job. He's just been chilling. He's been in no man's land, having a nice pina colada out in the Miami sun. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz is having rage bait, getting stuck behind Daniel Ricciardo. Lewis Hamilton's had enough of Kevin Magnussen. Oh, hang on a second. Tonight, Nico Hulkenberg sits with a pina colada. Carlos Sainz gets angry at being stuck behind Daniel Ricciardo. And an almost middle-aged British man gets really angry at some Dane. That's Top Gear, summarising this race. Verstappen 3 seconds ahead. Sainz again won't get past Ricciardo because he's not going to risk it because it's qualifying in a couple hours. Hamilton speeding in the pit lane under investigation. And Alonso's coming into the pits to fit the medium, so I'm guessing he's going for fastest lap just for the banter. Yeah, I mean, good for him. Then again, no, he wouldn't be because I'm so confused. But anyway, Hamilton's getting past Yuki Tsunoda, so he's finally got that point. He's going to get penalised though, so Tsunoda will be up into 9th, and Gasly will be in 10th. But Verstappen wins the sprint, unsurprisingly. Second place, Charles Leclerc. Third, Sergio Perez. So my prediction was correct. And Daniel Ricciardo is going to come home for a brilliant 4th place. So well done to Danny Rick. Absolutely brilliant drive from him. And Sainz 5th, Piastri 6th, Hulkenberg 7th. And it'll be Yuki Tsunoda in 8th because Hamilton's going to get penalised. So for the incident at the start. So well done to Yuki. And imagine if instead of saying after the race, it was just after the finish, and they just immediately gave the penalty after the finish. That would just be an absolutely cruel twist of fate. But yeah, Ricciardo gets 4th, and that's his first points of the season. So he picks up 5 points, and that moves him up in the standings quite a bit. If I just go and find how far, then so Ricciardo will be up in 2. I just realised I could just look at my screen. So Ricciardo getting 5 points will move him all the way up to 14th in the standings. Woohoo! And also it means that Visa Cash App, Red Bull or Carb pull even further ahead of Haas in the standings. But I'm going to go now, guys. Been live for an hour, and I will be back for qualifying at roughly 9 o'clock, I think it is. So